The irony sometimes is so thick you could cut it with a knife. With this story, I told you guys I had some suspicions. I can't talk about this story. I was very suspicious of the grandmother and the daughter. Well, we ended up being right about the daughter. We're actually going to give you guys an update on that as well. But here's the crazy thing. The grandma, actually, people in the chat were calling her out and they were saying that her body language looked wrong. Maybe they thought she might have been guilty. Maybe they thought she might have been covering up for the daughter here in the situation of this little baby boy here, Quinton Simon. The mother, Leilani Simon, as you guys know, we've already did an update and she was arrested. But guess who else has been arrested? Let me see if I can get her picture up here so you guys can take a look. The lady on the far right-hand side of the screen, that is Grandma Billy Joe. She has been arrested. How many of you guys knew that? That might not even be news to you guys, but I got to tell you, I'm going to talk about that picture. But before I get in any trouble talking about that picture, how about I give you guys a disclaimer first? Let's get it. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. And thank you so much. And if you guys would do me a favor and click that thumbs up if you're listening to this story. So the custodial grandmother of a toddler whose body was recently discovered in a Georgia landfill is now in jail herself. The woman on the right-hand side of the screen. I'm getting this particular article from oxygen.com because I thought it was a little more detailed. So thank you for the article. Her name is Billy Joe, J-O, Betterton, Betterton. There is no way she's 45 years old. Guys, that means this woman is 5 years older than me. And look, let me see if I can back this up like a U-Haul truck one time. Tell me that this woman is 45 years old. Somebody, please. This is why I believe that makeup is the devil. There is no way. But you see her birth date right there. March the 16th of 77. She is every bit of 45, and why she looks like she's a good 20 years older than that is beyond me. But her face is literally screaming, it's a hard knock life for us. It is a hard knock life for us. Shout out to Jay-Z. She was arrested Monday and booked into the Chatham County Detention Center. And I was going to do this yesterday, but I figured I wanted to gather a little bit more information first. Betterton was charged with contempt of court. So here's why I need to clarify because you guys might go crazy. As of right now, she is not being charged in connection to the murder of Quinton Simon. N-O-T, she is not. And no, she don't look like she's 45 at all. But I promise y'all, that's what came up. That is, she probably just gave them that year. That's the year I was born, knowing she probably about 20 years off. Probably trying to get off and hide some stuff. I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, she is not charged in connection to the death of this baby or disappearance of this baby. When you're talking about contempt of court, what does that mean? And maybe they'll explain it here, but I'm going to be a little more direct because sometimes the news doesn't always give us the information that we need. Okay? So here's what you got to know. In order for her to get custody, she had to go through the family court system in order to apply for custody and ultimately win custody of this baby from the mom, because the mom proved to be a bad mom. The dad proved to be a non-suitable parent, I guess. Mom and the daughter were also fighting, and the mom also was trying to evict her daughter, who is Leilani on the right-hand side of the screen. She didn't even want her living in her house anymore. I don't understand how you can have a child How you have all of these advantages in life, being a woman and being a mother. You can take advantage of the system. Whenever you are a mother and whenever you give birth out of your vaginal walls, you tend to get Section 8 food stamps, housing and sympathy and child support. And you can still work on top of all of that. So knowing that just because you perform a human bodily function that even animals do, you get automatically more benefits than a man would. And knowing that you have these advantages, natural advantages built in life, built into our society, you still find a way to screw it up. And you end up living at home with your mama, being a mother, and you piss her off so much to the point to where she don't even want you there. I think that is indicative of just a bad human being. Am I wrong for saying that? I told you guys I'm going to give my personal opinions. If you don't like that, I'm sorry, but I've already given you a disclaimer. I felt like that was fair. That's my personal opinion about the fact of her being a bad mother. I don't say that to try to say that I'm a great father. I say that I'm a decent father because I believe that you should never prop yourself up high enough because there's always room to grow. There's always room to do better. There's always room to be a better parent. Yes? So here's where grandma gets arrested comes into play. When you go through that court system, you are agreeing to their rules, to their regulations, and to not violate that because this child is already being taken away from a biological parent. So that's already traumatic as it is. And they're saying, well, we need to make sure we're putting this child in the right hands. Why? Because there's a lot of people out here killing kids. There's a lot of people out here kidnapping kids. There's a lot of kids out here making these children disappear. There's a lot of people out here putting children in bathtubs, putting children in lakes, throwing children off of bridges, running children over with cars, leaving children dead, starving them, putting them in the trunk of a car and leaving them in there for 2 weeks. Hopefully I don't have to get more graphic than that, but there's a lot of bad stuff. So I can't fault the system for saying we need to have some more checks and balances to make sure that this household is going to be proper. And here's what I believe happened. With all that being said, here's what I believe happened. I believe in those rules, that agreement that she signed up for, that contract with the state, grandma violated that because I think that she left this child in the hands to be babysit by an unfit mother. For whatever reason, the baby ends up dead. That's a violation because that baby shouldn't have been in the mother's custody for no reason. She's already been proven to be a bad mother. Does everybody understand now why grandma has been arrested? She's not been arrested in connection with the murder. She's been arrested with violating the order. So there you go. Check that out right there. That's on the mother right there. But let me see if I can go back to grandma's charges. Let's go back there, because I don't think I actually got it all. Hold for juvenile court. So I can't see the rest of that. I don't know if there was more to it, but you can see that's the information out there if you guys want to look that up. Although officials cannot release the reasons behind the recent arrest, which is what I just talked about, that's what I believe she was arrested for. So I'm putting that out there. And speaking about things that I talk about that I'm usually not wrong about, I want you guys to remember the story of Justice, was it Justice Starks? You guys remember that story? I made some accusations real early in that story before I knew anything, and I'm going to just tell y'all, without me putting the information out there, just know that there's a reason why I say what I say. I want to put that out there right now for anybody who looks up that story of that beautiful little girl, Justice Sparks, okay? Now, even though they didn't give a reason, it does not seem to be directly connected with the disappearance and death of her grandson, 20-month-old Quinton Simon, okay? No bond has been set according to the records. Betterton, also known as Billy Joe Howell, is the mother of Leilani Simon, 22 years old, who faces murder charges connected with her toddler son's disappearance and death. Betterton, or otherwise known as Billy Joe, Grandma Billy Joe, that is a wonderful name for her. Let me get her face back up here. I'm mad that they did to this baby. Just violated this little baby's trust like that. Billy Joe was the custodial grandparent of Quinton Simon when he disappeared on October the 5th from their Buckhalter Road residence in Savannah. Betterton, Billy Joe, was also the legal guardian of Quinton's 3-year-old brother, who also lived in the home, according to the Savannah Morning News. Leilani, the biological mother, right there, and her children lived at her parents' home with Leilani's live-in boyfriend by the name of Daniel Youngkin, the last known person to see Quinton Simon alive. These are grown-ass people living with grandma. I need to take a sip before I talk about this. Said Billy Joe has 18 priors. We'll talk about that. Because I don't know that. I don't know that. But I see y'all are typing that in the chat. Y'all are saying that grandma had priors? I always say the apple don't fall far from the tree. Said indicted on. Oh yeah, we'll talk about the indictment charges. We'll talk about that. But I tend to think that if the daughter could do something this heinous to her own son, I'd have to think that grandma probably did some bullcrap in her day too. So I can't speculate about that until I had a paperwork in my face. So I don't know. But I don't understand how you can not have a roof over your head, not have a roof over your son's head to the point to where you lose custody of your son to your own mother. You're forced to live under her roof, which I'm pretty sure there's a violation in that in itself. But then the mom had nerve enough to think about some more penis, which is what got her in this position in the first place with 2 kids that she couldn't take care of. And you have a live-in boyfriend who this fucker apparently doesn't have a means to be able to take care of himself because he can't even invite them to come live with him. His girlfriend can't live with him. Her kids can't live with him. He got to go live with grandma. What does he do for a living? Besides slinging penis. Ladies, y'all understand where I'm coming from? I don't understand how we can have more children than we can care for, more responsibility that we can't buy life insurance. We can't have medical insurance. We can't send the kids to school. We can't send the kids to daycare. We can't provide for their food, nourishment. But we can be worried about a boyfriend and having sex and being happy. Priorities are all wrong. All wrong. Daniel Youngkin, Leilani's live-in boyfriend, reported he last saw Quinton Simon in his playpen at around 6 a.m. the day he disappeared. But Leilani, his girlfriend, the mother, claimed that when she woke up at 9:40 a.m., Quinton was nowhere to be found. She alleged that someone had possibly abducted him because the boy was not tall enough to open the door on his own. On October the 12th, investigators named Leilani as the prime suspect. Usually that means the only suspect. Prime suspect in Quinton's disappearance, stating they believe that the boy was placed in a specific dumpster that found its way to the Savannah area landfill. Searchers had a massive undertaking of sifting through 1.2 million pounds of trash, and guess what? They found this boy's body, or at least parts of it. They found enough of this boy's body in order to make a positive identification that it was the baby that they were looking for. Do y'all understand that? 1.2 million pounds of methane-filled trash, toxic trash, that they have to wear hazmat suits because that stuff literally smells like hell. And they went through all of that and still found him. I think they said it was like a 5% chance of actually finding him, and they actually found him. It's crazy. On November the 18th, more than a month after Quinton disappeared, searchers found human remains at the Superior landfill, later confirmed to be those of Quinton. The boy's mother was subsequently charged with malice murder, concealing the death of another person, and making false statements regarding Quinton's disappearance and death. Leilani pleaded not guilty to the charges, according to CBS Savannah affiliate WTOC-TV. The child's cause and manner of death have not yet been released, so I'm pretty sure we'll get more information on that pretty soon. On September the 7th, several weeks before Quinton's disappearance, Chatham County authorities had responded to a domestic dispute between Leilani and Grandma Billy Joe over a washing machine which had allegedly became physical, per the Savannah Morning News. They were fighting about what? I'm pretty sure Grandma just wanted her out of the house. And shout out to Put It in the Air podcast. I see you in the building. What's going on, bro? Salute, salute. Grandma Billy Joe, excuse me, accused Leilani of not paying rent for her. Youngkin is the boyfriend, and the children and one of Leilani's siblings reportedly accused Leilani of stealing money. Apparently, it says stealing from Betterton to support her alleged drug habit. That sounds like she probably stole Grandma's money, her own mom's money. She won't go work for it, but you'll steal from the person who's putting a roof over your head, which you were staying there for free. That's wild. The following day, Billy Joe Betterton filed to have Leilani and Youngkin evicted from her Burkhalter Road residence, according to court documents obtained by the Savannah Morning News. So just so you guys know, if you let somebody, like if you're in a relationship or you have older kids or whatever the case is, and you let somebody stay at your house, like live at your house, I believe, if it's longer than 4 weeks, if it's longer than a month, 4 to 6 weeks, I forget how long it is, you can't just tell them to leave and you can't lock them out. Legally, you can't do that. That's called an illegal eviction. You actually have to go downtown and go file paperwork to have the police remove them and give them notice that they have to leave. I don't know if a lot of y'all knew that, but there's a small time frame that if they stay over that time frame or if they start receiving mail at that house, you actually have to evict them. You can't just kick them out and change the locks. Can't do that. You legally can't do that. The eviction notice was served a week later, 1 week before Quinton's disappearance. A judge signed an order for Leilani to pay child support to Betterton for both children. A court clerk for the Chatham County Juvenile Court said that a recent case against Betterton is now closed and that discussing the holding charge could affect a fair trial or hearing. So I guess even if I knew, I guess I'm not really allowed to say what that charge was. Neither a court date nor a legal representative was listed in the jail records. Let me give you guys the fair usage, and I'm going to show you guys, I think I got a couple of news videos. Here we go. Let's get it. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. And if you guys are listening to the sound of my voice, if y'all would show some love, real easy to do is click that thumbs up. It shares this video and lets more people know that we're live. So we want to try to get one thumb up for everybody watching, okay? Here we go.
Leilani, it's Andy Cole with WJCL. Did you kill Quinton? Do you want to talk about it?
No.
I'd love to hear about it.
No.
I want to tell your story.
No, we don't care about telling a story.
Why don't you tell their story? Because they climb my criminal.
That's all y'all got to say? All right.
It's all here on WTOC. And
now, some of y'all might be wondering why I'm focusing on this story rather than the grandma. And the reason for that is because I want you guys to rehear the little bit of brief interview that she gave to the news people. That's why. Then we're going to go right to grandma right after this video.
tonight we're looking back at that exclusive interview. Shay joins us now in the newsroom. And Shay, What does this interview look like knowing what we know now?
Somebody in the chat said drugs are bad. Okay. Drugs are bad. Drugs are bad. Okay.
That interview was almost a month ago, and it was the only time that I've ever spoken with Leilani. That was on October 24th. And when I did that interview, Chatham County Police had already said that they believed Quinton was dead, had named Leilani their sole suspect, and had started searching a local landfill for Quinton's remains. In that interview, Leilani never outright stated whether she was guilty or innocent. She maintained that she was broken up over Quinton's death and disappearance, visibly crying both when the camera was on and when it was off. However, she said if it came out that she had anything to do with Quinton's disappearance, she would turn herself into the police.
I'm here. I've been here every day since this. I am not running and I'm not hiding. And if something does come up that I am at fault, I will take myself to that police station.
3 guilty or innocent.
That's an automatic red flag. And I think they already knew it. They just needed to get it on camera, put it out there. The police and prosecutors already knew.
To me that she would turn herself.
Now they got the boy's body, so that even further is going to be able to prove what actually happened.
In. Was there any talk of giving her that opportunity?
Ma'am, you are going to walk with her because you're facing separate charges. You're definitely going to walk with her, Grandma. Now, let's go ahead and skip past that.
Continuing coverage now, Quinton Simon's grandmother is in the Chatham County Jail. Billy Joe Howell's arrest is not connected with Quinton's murder. God,
it's like every time they show a picture of her, she just look older and older.
Continuing coverage now, Quinton Simon's grandmother is in the Chatham County Jail. Billy Joe Howell.
Come on, y'all. Look, people in the chat, somebody type in there. I don't see y'all typing. Type something in the chat and tell me that this woman looks like she's 45 years old. No, ma'am, you're not 45. I think that you gave them probably a false name, some false information. Now, the age does line up with according to how old your daughter is, because that means you had your daughter at what? So if she's, 22 and you're 45, you had her at 22, 23 years old. That math would add up, but your face don't add up, ma'am. Your face looks stressed out, ma'am, right? Your face looks very aged. Your face looks like milk that's been just sitting out on the countertop for a couple of weeks, right? Your face looks like what happens to bread after you don't close the bag up, or even if you do close the bag up after, about a couple of weeks, you start getting that little moldy stuff on there, right? Her face looks like she ages like a banana. You got to get them bananas ate within a week? You got about a week. I'm going to tell you, Satan was not too kind to her face. I'm just going to tell y'all that right now. The devil broke the mold when he made her face. Ma'am, I am sorry, but you are every bit of 63 and a half years old. No way you're 45. So y'all, look at my face. And look at her face and tell me that she looks like she's 5 years older than me. I don't think so.
Howell's arrest is not connected with Quinton's murder. Chatham County's police chief has told us that the only person that investigators are charging in that case right now is the child's mother, Leilani Simon. Billy Joe Howell's charge is related to the custody of her other grandchildren. We have reached out to the juvenile court system here in Chatham County and are waiting back to.
Her daughter has been stressing her out. Golly. Week-long banana face. Billy Crackhead Rockin' Joe. Wow, y'all are harsh. Okay. Jeez. I know that woman was getting no sleep.
Hear from them.
Looking ahead now, we invite you to join us this weekend for a WSAV investigative special event. Little Boy Lost, Justice for Quinton Simon airs on Saturday, December 10th. We have exclusive new content on this story that we've been following for months, including an interview with Quinton's babysitter.
Let me ask you about the relationship that you witnessed between Quinton and his mother. What was that like?
It was loveless. To the other kids, she showed love. She showed concern. To Quinton, it wasn't concern and love.
Why?
I don't know. She had stated that Zane was her favorite.
She said this out loud.
Yes, she said Zane was her favorite.
Saturday night at 11 for Little Boy Lost, Justice for Quinton Simon, right here on WSAV.
Okay, so that was actually from the news station. I thought I had looked that up. Now, that's a lot about their situation as a whole. And then, of course, we've already talked about the situation with Grandma. I'm going to assume, because the courts haven't put it out yet, but the reason why Grandma Billy Joe was arrested is because I'm going to assume that whatever agreement that she had with the state, she was not allowed to leave those children alone with an unfit mother who had just lost custody, and also while she's asking for child support as well. That's just a and they were arguing and fussing with each other. That's a very dangerous thing to do, is to shake up the cage of this violent little animal, which is the mother, Leilani, and then be surprised when you take your children to the thug zoo, stick them inside the thug lion cage, and then you're just like, oh my God, I can't believe they killed my baby. Am I aware of the YouTuber relationship? Which relationship are you talking about? Let me know which YouTuber relationship you're talking about. I can tell you a yay or a nay on that. But which YouTuber? You can type it in the chat, but I appreciate you being respectful and asking first. But type it in the chat, and I'll wait for your comment. So let's talk about these additional charges, because this was updated as of about 4 hours ago. She was charged by a grand jury. Yep. So let's talk about the biological mother, which is the woman here on the left-hand side. So the mother was indicted on murder charges, which is she's facing 19 charges in her son's death. So this is brand new information. Brand new information. Leilani Simon is facing a 19-count indictment in the tragic death of her 2-year-old son by the name of Quinton Simon, and Chatham County District Attorney Shalina Cook Jones said. The charges include 1 count of malice murder, 2 counts of felony murder, and 1 count of concealment of the death of another. The other charges stem from the alleged false statements Leilani made to authorities. So she lied. I'm glad they got her on that too. Definitely glad they got her on that too. Now, as your district attorney, I realize that this matter is really important to our community, and also inquiring minds both here and beyond our community want to know what happened to baby Quinton and how it happened. That curiosity is not lost on me. However, there is more evidence that may be revealed during the course of this investigation, and I say that to remind you all that this is going to be an ongoing criminal investigation, so there could be more charges. I would also tell you guys this, says share is a free... I don't know about that. Anyway, but also just to let you guys know that if for some reason they tie Billy Joe's, the grandma's actions to this murder, I'm not going to even rule that out, that she could also get in some trouble for that as well. Because all of that contributed to this woman having access to be able to kill the child. So I wouldn't rule that out. The slain toddler's mother was arrested last month and charged by police after the boy's remains were found in an area landfill. She previously was suspected by authorities as the person responsible for Simon's disappearance before his body was found. Quinton Simon was reported, well, I guess I don't have to read y'all all of that again. Quinton Simon's grandmother, Billy Joe Howell, was arrested this week on a charge of contempt of court that appeared to be separate from the toddler's death. So that's everything that I know so far based on what the police have put out, based on what the courts have put out. Anything else outside of that, I am not real familiar with, okay? I'm going to just go with the facts, and we usually do pretty well with that, unless I tend to speculate. But what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to use other people's speculation. I'm going to use my own speculation. And I think that grandma knew more than what she said. And I think that the daughter definitely knew more than what she said. And I think that this is just a big old, just a big, huge mess. But all in all, I just want justice for this baby. Even with me joking about the babysitter. I'm sorry. I know some people might not like the jokes about the babysitter. But I think that should have been a red flag. The fact that they didn't want that woman to babysit that child anymore when she had did perfectly fine babysitting that child or multiple children. I think that should have continued. But why it seems that they went above and beyond to go out of their way to put this child in harm's way, there's no excuse for that. And whatever time they give them in prison, we'll probably do one more update about this. But I really just want to know how much time in prison they're going to get at the end of the day. But thank you guys so much for listening to this story. Again, RIP Quinton Simon. I'm glad that we're starting to get some answers to this. Like, share, subscribe to the AFC podcast, okay? Thank you.